Good afternoon, Livingston Parish teachers and friends. I'm here to talk to you about some basics of Seesaw. I really enjoy Seesaw, and I think it's an awesome tool for our younger students as well as the older ones too. But before we get started, I would like for you to take your attendance today. We have two ways that you can take it. We have the tiny URL code, or you can scan your phone. We have some awesome prizes, so go ahead. I'm going to give you a few minutes to take attendance. Okay, and I hope one of you guys are lucky enough to win one of the awesome prizes. I am going to share my screen and show you my Seesaw account. So this is my account, and this is my class name. And if you look, I have a message in my inbox. And I want to go over some basic features, and then we're going to move on and talk about some other things. If you see, under my name, we have a journal. And these are for our students. Our students get a journal that they send back responses to us. And I'm going to show you how the student responses look and how this is an awesome tool to communicate with our youngest learners. And if you can see under my class journal, I have sample student, and then I have two students that I asked to enroll so that I could show their responses for this PowerPoint and webinar today. I can also click down at the bottom and add students, and you can see how you can get students signed in. I can also add families. I can invite families by email or with the mobile number. If you have questions during this time, go ahead and put it in the chat. Miss Heather White is here from the tech department, and she's awesome. She'll answer your questions, or maybe someone on the webinar would like to hop in and answer some. Next, I'm going to show you the activities, and I absolutely love this. If you see on my activities, I have a me bag. I was thinking that this would be awesome for our friends if we are virtual at the beginning part of the year at any point. Of course, we all want our friends with us, and we love to teach in person, but if that would be the case, we could send this activity to them, and they will send back things in their me bag to us. So I'm going to go into the activities more and how that works, but I wanted to show you that the activities are activities for you that you can save in your activities, or their community activities. So if you look down here, I can go in an activity that I assigned a student, and it says one response waiting for teacher approval. So I'm going to click review, and I'm going to look at that. And this was one that I sent, read it, write it, build it. And if you look, Drew and Audra have done just that. That's an awesome job. They read the words, they traced them with the writing tool, and then they drug the letters to build them. So I'm going to approve that response. And then I'm going to comment back. At the bottom, I can like it. And I'm going to make a comment back. Great job. And I will post that so that Drew and Audra will see that response back. Great job. And that's something that I do love, is that I can see their work and I can send back comments to them. So that's an example of how We can respond to student work. Now, if I go up to my inbox, it will show me family announcements, or I can send a student announcement. I can click on send student announcement, and I can send an announcement to everyone that's enrolled in my class. If you look over here at skills, I believe that the parish may be adding this, and this is where you can get specific skills that would match your standards, and you can tag students for those sets of skills. So that is a very useful tool. Now, if I go over here to my name, we'll see that I have my response, and I have another unapproved post, and that is Audra's post. So this is her work, so I can approve it. And I love getting the work back from them and to see their writing. So now you see everything in my class has been approved that was sent back to me. Now, if you look at the green tab, the plus sign, I can post student work, I can assign an activity, or send an announcement. So if I want to assign an activity, I would want to go to my activity library. And I have a library that I've been building, and I will be happy to share any of these activities. I'm going to send 2 PowerPoints out that will be added next week. But this is an activity that I thought was very useful. If we look at getting familiar with Seesaw with your students and your parents. If need be, this is something that you could send out as an assignment so that your students and their families can get familiar with Seesaw. So I could click down here and I can assign that to my class, or I could schedule it to be assigned. Now, what I really love, and some of the other things, I have the Me Bag, Meet Me. I really like this activity where you send it to your students and they will send something back about themselves. And you see, I've assigned it to Audra and Drew. So I can assign that to my students, assigned to one class. And then I'll get their response back. When the students sign in, they can respond and send that back to me. One thing that I really love is the virtual field trips. You may not be able to go on a field trip. We probably won't this year, but your students can explore lots of new places through the virtual field trip options. So that's something that I would recommend. This is my library, but if you go to community, you are flooded with so many awesome options. You can pick your grade level. You can scroll down and see the different grade levels up to 12th grade. You can pick your subjects: art, computer, drama, English language arts, so many, science, or you can search for an activity. There are so many awesome activities that are already made for you and ready to go. Now, another thing that I wanted to share is how to copy an activity onto Google Classroom. So I'm going to go to an activity. Let's say I want to copy the virtual field trip. I want all of my students to discover forms. So I can go to the dots. You look at the bottom, there's your 3 little dots, and I can share the activity. And then when I share it, I have options. I could share on social media, get the activity link, or get the activity embedded code. I'm going to copy the activity link. And then I'm going to go into, this is just my practice Google Classroom. I'm going to go into my Google Classroom. I'm going to open, and I can just right click, and paste that activity there. And when it's posted, and students go in, there's their activity. So that's very easy to share activities with Seesaw onto your Google Classroom. And I think for kindergarten, it'll be an awesome tool for our lower grades. This is the program or the activity that you may want to share out, especially um, link it to your Google Classroom so that your families will be able to get familiar with Seesaw. I would highly recommend that. This is a way to add. I don't know if you're like me, but I spent 6 hours one night creating a Bitmoji classroom for my Google Classroom. Bitmoji is awesome and it's so fun. So this is a link to add a virtual scene created in Google Slides to Seesaw. So you could add your Bitmoji classroom. Now I have a tutorial that I'm going to share out, and this tutorial is different programs, and if you click, you will see that Seesaw is on here, and you can click in it and you can add my child's journal, how to create a post, how to log in, how to respond to activities, log in with home learning, tour of the app, parent tutorial. I would think the parent tutorial would be an awesome thing for parents. I'm going to share this out. And so you can look at any of these programs and you can view it from the teacher tutorial version, or you can click that and view it from the parent or student version. So this is an awesome guide to help with those programs for teachers as well as parents. I wanted to show you how when a student responds to my activity in Seesaw, I get a post to my email and it'll say that I have post waiting. So if you can see, I've received this saying there are posts waiting for your approval in your class. So I can click right in my email and review and approve those posts. I really like that because in the morning, that's the first thing I like to check. So instead of going into Seesaw, I just go directly into my email and I can see what's waiting for me from those Seesaw assignments. I am very excited about using Seesaw. I think that it will be a program that our students will enjoy. Even if we're in class and we want to send an assignment out during the week, it's something that we can get our students used to responding through Seesaw. So I'm excited about using that program and starting to assign classwork. Remember to send an announcement. This is just a review of some of the things that I went over. But I haven't really talked a lot about the creative tools. And when students respond to you and they send work back, they can actually, there's a mic that they can talk into. They can draw with a drawing tool. There's a camera icon. These icons are very easy for young students to see and respond to. These are just some more community activities. I really like some of the reading activities for kindergarten. And if you look, there's so many activities that have beginning sound, syllables, very, 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 very big base of activities. And this is a review of, if you click on that green ad, how you can post your student work, you can assign an activity or send an announcement. This is just for parents for home learning that you can send. And this is how Seesaw can help you set up remote access for your students step by step. This is a teacher planning guide that's located in your Seesaw program, and it will go step by step with you to show you how to plan. This is another activity that I just really enjoyed, and you can see I clicked on assign, so I'm ready to assign that to students, and then I will receive their responses. This is getting to know you. This was a very good beginning of school activity. This is what I had assigned to the 2 students in my class: read it, write it, build it. And here's your Seesaw class versus your family app. So you can look at the different, compare and contrast that. Let me get to one more. I wanted to show you guys before we close out how a response looks. So let me see if I can go in. One moment. And that is something that I love, is seeing their pictures and being able to comment. And if you see, I commented back to this friend when he did the activity. Do you remember when we cared for eggs in class? It was so fun. So it's very nice to have that tool to use and be able to comment back. And if you see, they were able to use the drawing tool to write their name. There's a tool to drag, and they can also do a voice thread. So I wanted to just tell you that on the student end, there are lots of tools that they can use to reply. So there are no limits there to, if they decide they want to send you a voice thread back, if they want to write, drag, there's even the camera option. So I think that your students would enjoy that. And of course, with any program, the more that you play around with it, the more you learn and the better you become. I'm surely no expert. I've played around with it. I'm enjoying it. I have a lot more to learn, but I know that we'll all get through this together. And that's my activity that I'm going to share out with my families, getting familiar with Seesaw when school starts, just so if I need that program, it will be there and they will be familiar with it. I've enjoyed talking to everyone today, and I appreciate your time. I hope this was a quick, basic review of Seesaw. You can put questions in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. I also have a more advanced PowerPoint that I will be sending out. I have the app with all the programs that I shared with you that I will be sending out. And these are just great sheets for the parent-student version and for us as educators. So I will be sending that out, and the basic PowerPoint. So I appreciate your time, and let me give you the I appreciate your time, and I want to give you the survey for the end. And I thank you for taking the time to go through some basics of Seesaw with me. I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you want to email me or reach out to me, I can share my activity boards with you. Anything that you need, I'll be happy to help. We're in this together, and we're going to get through it together. Thank you guys, and have a great afternoon.
I was going to jump on.
Okay.
Hey everyone, I saw a couple of questions in the chat. So Miss Masters, you said if she could show this, it would be helpful. Can you remind me what it is you want to see, and maybe I can definitely demonstrate that for you. Also, you can use your smartphone to actually scan the QR code you see on the screen right now, and it will be pulling it up for you. Just waiting on Miss Masters. How will they receive the PowerPoint? I think Nikki is going to link all of the presentations to the document and where we're going to put everything on the district webpage. So you will be able to click on all of the things.
Next week.
Next week, yeah. The Google Classroom and Seesaw, they're the only way to actually link Google Classroom to Seesaw is to put a link for the students to log in. When you share that activity, that link is actually just a share to other teachers. It is not actually a direct link to that activity. So what you would have to do is, the way that I used to do it is you do app.seesaw.me, and mine's actually logged in. But what I would do is I would share the basic login for Seesaw, and I'm going to share my screen and get rid of this one real quick. What you would do is you would just share like app.seesaw.me. So if I went to my Google Classroom, not Class Dojo, here we go. So what my students would have to do, let me find one here, there we go. So when I would create an assignment, I would tell them, you know, Seesaw activity. I might copy and paste the exact directions that are in the Seesaw activity that I did in this instruction part right here. And then what I would add would be a link to Seesaw itself. So app.seesaw.me. What they would do is when they clicked on this link right here and logged in, it would take them to sort of this dashboard. They would have notifications where they would have to, you know, do their activity. They would see little numbers in the activity area here, and they would actually create their response right there. So it's going to be kind of important not to inundate your activity library or your classroom with lots of things. Like, you're really not going to be able to, from what I know, and I could be wrong, you're not going to be able to go and post 5 days with 3 activities each day, because the students aren't going to know what they need to do. So you can plan ahead and you can have these activities ready to go, but not necessarily assigned. So the way I would do it is I would make sure that I assign my activities in the morning. They see them and they can answer them for that day. And then the next morning, I would assign those specific activities out as well. You can say that you're going to have all of these to do. You can name them. You can put the directions in your assignments on the Google Classroom. But I wouldn't actually assign them into the Seesaw where they can see them until you're ready for them to work them. With a paid version, you should be able to actually schedule these things. I do not know when the paid versions are going to come through, though. So for now, you would be able to do that, but you can actually schedule them to show up at a later date when our licenses come through. Does that help? I'm going to come back over here and you're going to see like the weird oh my goodness, I just went through the whole thing and you can't see my screen. Let me try this again. I am so sorry. Okay. Can you actually see my Google Classroom and my Seesaw? I'm going to assume yes. Okay, you should be able to see all my stuff. So again, let me reiterate this. You have to link them at .seesaw.me. They will log into the app, and from the app, they will see the activities they need to do. You can call it what you want in your title as far as the Google Classroom goes. You can put the instructions here. If you're doing like an interactive Bitmoji class and you want to link your specific things there, again, all you're going to be able to do is link them to their login screen. Within Seesaw, though, you will be able to have all of your activities. I would only assign them for that specific day to show up. Like once we get the paid version, you should be able to schedule them to pop up. I haven't played around with the scheduling too much, so I'm not 100% positive how that works. I'm hoping to sit in on a webinar this week with the Seesaw people to learn a little bit more so that I can be a good point of contact for y'all when you do have questions. But again, you can't come here and do this click in, get activity link. This activity link, you share it with other teachers. It's not for students, unfortunately. Maybe we can talk to them about saying, hey, you really need to do this. Maybe within a paid version, we will have that option. But since I've never had the pro version, I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to come back to the StreamYard now.
And I have heard in the paid version that you can hook a link in like that and it will work for students, but that was yet to be seen.
Right. So since I haven't seen the paid version as far as getting a specific direct link, I don't know. Teach Me Books, when will the paid version be available? That is another great question. I know that it has been set up so that it goes live. I just do not know the exact day that it's going to go live. I would like to think by the beginning of August. And I have a feeling that we will send out an email to everybody in the district when we do have access to all of that. But yeah, so I hope that answers the questions that you had. I'm going to look back through these. And if you have any other questions, you can always email me, heather.white@lpsb.org. I am one of the new EdTech facilitators. And then I can help you out when we'll be given usernames and passwords. You will actually create that for them. I do not think that those are going to be auto-populated, and I could be wrong. Again, I'm not on that admin side of things. So depending on the age of your students, you may use a student number for them. You might want to do a login with Google. If you have them log in with Google, then you can actually sync those things up. And you can give them the QR code or whatever to sign in that way. If you set up an account now, you should not lose any information when the paid version comes. Make sure you set your account up with lpsb.org. I would not set it up with livingstonschools.net only because we don't have access to that email, so we can't get in there and verify anything. So when it comes down through, hopefully they'll notice that all of the accounts within a specific domain are going to be granted access to this paid version. That would be the way that I think it's going to go. Again, don't quote me on any of this. I'm not 100% positive, but in my brain, that's how it makes sense. And even if you do set up an account and you create some sort of activities, if you have one account, you should be able to even, you could share the links of the activities that you've created with yourself if you have to create a different one. I hope that makes sense.
And what I've been doing with summer practice is I take activity links that I think would be a good fit for teachers I know, and I've been going into their Google Classroom when we've been playing around and sharing those.
And that's one thing you can do too. And if you're really worried that perhaps that is going to disappear, you could start yourself just looking at the Google Doc, and every time you create an activity, copy that share link and put it in the in that Google Doc. And if you make that activity visible for anyone, it can actually go into the community library and it will always be able to be found. So if you don't keep the activities you create super private, then that is also another option. And then other people in the parish could definitely find those as well. Okay, so I know we have a 10-minute lag, not 10-minute, that would be a really long lag. About a 10-second lag between the live broadcast and actually when I'm saying these things. So I'm going to give it a few more seconds and see if you have any other questions. If not, then we will sign out in about 20 seconds. And again, if you could make sure that you fill out that survey, I will throw that link up there at the top. It is the same link for every presentation that you have been a part of. So it's tinyurl.com, LPPS, all in capitals, Tech Week. And that way we can get some feedback and see kind of what you need, what you don't need. And again, at any point, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. You can follow me on the Twitter at TallTechTeach or email me at heather.white@lpsv.org. And I also know that you can email Ms. Karen anytime you have a question. It's karen.carino@lpsv.org, and we are here to help you out. We do appreciate you tuning in this afternoon. And do you have anything else that you would like to add?
The document that I shared that has all the different apps with
Yes.
I am going to share that on the shared drive.
Okay, so she's going to put that, and I have a copy of that as well because I did find that on the internet, and I already shared it out with everybody that was in here
Okay,
as a
good.
clickable link, and they were able to get to that, hopefully with that bit link that I shared out with the spreadsheet that had all that information. Let me go try to find that post again real quick, and you should not have any issues getting to that, and I will share it out one more time.
I find that very helpful.
It is very definitely very helpful.
I appreciate everyone taking their time. I know you're super busy, so thank you for taking the time to walk through the basics with us again.
Absolutely. And here's that link. You can pause the screen when it comes up again, and you can get that bit.ly, and you can go and make a copy of that spreadsheet. You cannot edit it. If you want to, make an edit so that you can share it out and add more stuff, I'll make a copy. But otherwise, you can share that and save that in your Google Drive for access. Again, thanks for coming and joining in with us, and let us know if you need anything else.
Thank you, guys.